Hey, what's up? I'm Guy. That's John.
That's me.
Got
Yeah,
you.
podcast below in the description. YouTube page. Subscribe. Like the video. Comment. Y'all know the drill.
So I was listening to Move the Sticks with Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks.
Yeah.
DJ suggested the Bears, now that they missed out on Wentz, should call the Texans, and if they can't get Watson, they should call the Raiders and make the Raiders say no to them on Carr. They should just go down the list, make people say no to them. And then there was an article or a tweet a couple days ago from the Indianapolis Star that the Colts had called on Derek Carr and were told firmly not available. Mariota is if you want him, though. And in the midst of all this, you've got Derek Carr coming off a great year with only 2 years left on his contract. And there's a whole other discussion. I think you told me Adam Kaplan tweeted something about whether or not they would extend Derek. So there's a lot going on with Derek. And right now, it's all pretty positive. Like his stock is high. And then when your stock is high, your team's going to want to re-sign you at a value to them.
I got a little birdie that knows some things, and I was texting with him probably a month ago. And he's like, yeah, I think Derek either gets traded for like a 1 and a 2 or an extension happens. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever had a text like that before. Like, you're either going to get traded for like a 1 and 2 twos or they're going to extend.
Or they'll make him their franchise quarterback.
That to me is a little weird, but it shows you like this is the John Gruden experience. I want to rewind to 1 second. I was talking to a buddy with the Bears, not Matt Nagy. And because I know that they obviously like Derek. I mean, Derek's been good on tape this year, and he would be a massive upgrade for them. And I said, my one thing would be the cold with Derek. Like, that would make me a little nervous for you guys. Like, in theory, his physical traits, like playing in Chicago, like the Windy City, like he's got a big arm. But, like, your guys' games, November, December, going to Green Bay, right? I guess Minnesota and Detroit are indoors. That'd be good for him. But I was like, that one would make me a little nervous, just historically. It's weird. I put him and Goff in the same sentence. Obviously, Derek's a lot more physically gifted than Goff. I do think they have two parallels, though, being California guys, California college guys, and kind of have a history when I've seen them in cold weather games. I didn't really trust it, either one of them. So that would, just trying to give a little, I'm not anti doing the trade if I'm them, but I'd just be one thing. I'd have someone do a deep dive on every cold weather game he ever played, and I'd have Nagy watch it. Before, if like it was even an option.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you'd be like, whoa.
Right. Well, the other thing you could say is, well, if we could play him for a season in cold weather, maybe he'd get better at cold weather.
You get acclimated to it.
But
would you be a little nervous in that realm if you were them? For giving like a 1 and a 2?
I would be, but I also don't think they really have a lot of options right now.
No, he's their best option if he was available.
But it doesn't seem like he's an option to them, right? So he plays for the Raiders. He's good for the Raiders. If you're him, you're tired of hearing your name all the time, so maybe you are inclined to sign a contract extension. But like I said, if you're Carr, I don't know, when you're under contract for 2 more years and the franchise tag exists, if we could really say you have leverage. But as much as you can have leverage, he has leverage right now.
A little different scenario because this guy only had 1 year deal, 1 year left. Kirk Cousins last offseason, after he had won a playoff game, and was on a 3-year, I think, $87 million deal with the Vikings. Fully guaranteed, remember?
Yeah.
Going into that final year, he signed a contract extension, a 2-year contract extension for basically $33 million a year and 50 guaranteed. So basically, if you did the 86 and 50, he's I'm not a math major, but 8, 5, 12, 126 guaranteed. 136?
86 and 50? Is that what you just added up?
Yeah. 136.
Yeah.
So they gave him $136 million in guaranteed dollars. And as we know with quarterbacks, you and I talked when we were just looking at Derek's contract before the pod. If you add it up, instead he didn't get $72 million guaranteed. He's going to end up with every penny guaranteed.
125, basically.
Whether he plays on the Raiders or plays it out. If you were him, would you sign a 2-year, $66 million contract extension, $51 million guaranteed?
Again, putting aside for a second, it's easy to say no when the contract isn't sitting in front of you, right? When everyone's giving Fernando Tatis Jr. a hard time. It's like, dude, you're going to be underpaid in 4 years. It's like, yeah, they just threw a 14-year contract in front of him, guaranteeing him.
But think how much money they had to give him for him to do that. Like, You get over $300 million. Yeah. Like, okay, I get
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to be underpaid in 4 years. It's like, yeah, I just got 300. What did he get, 340?
340. Like, I get that. I don't care.
I totally
he could have made an extra $100 million, whatever.
whatever. Here's
don't
the
you
point.
think this one has some parallels though?
Well,
Like that would be
so
the type number.
I just say all that to say it's easy to say no, I would not sign 66 up front. It's easy to say, well, what would he get as a free agent right now? Well, he'd get a lot more.
And they'd say, well, he's not a free agent for 2 years.
That's why the franchise tag exists. So we can keep a guy from becoming a free agent. We just tag him. And that's why the tag number's so high. Because if they're going to prevent you from being a free agent, you get to make $35 million or whatever. By then, who knows? The number might be 40. But no, I would not. The short answer is I would not sign that contract. Or at least I would advise him not to sign that. It's easy for you to say it when it's not your money. I would say, Derek, you do not need to sign that contract.
At what guaranteed number would you feel comfortable signing an extension? 70 plus?
Yeah, the number that would make another team uncomfortable to acquire me. The number that would get. I guess we just saw Wentz and Goff traded, so maybe that number doesn't exist. But I would say, yeah, I need enough. Keep in mind, John, I'm signing this contract in 2021. Now, I know the cap's coming down this year, but what's it going to be in 2022? What's it going to be in 2023 when I'm supposed to be an unrestricted free agent and you can tag me?
You know what's crazy about Cousins? This year's $31 million cap hit, 41 dead cap. Like he's their quarterback.
Yeah.
Next year, $45 million cap hit and only $10 million dead cap. Like what? Is something going to happen next year? Are they going to have to do another extension? Depending, or cut him.
Yeah, because his cap is 45 in 2021 or 2022.
2022, 45.
Yeah, so they'll have to they'll have to renegotiate with him.
Yeah,
and extend him, because anyone you send him to is going to need to do the same thing. So even if
here's where the Raiders would have Derek by the balls if they did a 2-year deal. They'd basically have him under contract for the next 4 years. It'd be a huge win for the Raiders. I don't see how.
Yeah, but
as Derek just got $125 million. How he would make any sense to do because to me, if I'm the Raiders, I want to do even if it's 2 years, $66 million, so basically 30 a year or whatever, 32, but I could even guarantee 60 of it. I'm feeling pretty good because I don't owe him that much these next 2 years, and I just get to put it over 4 years. The thing with Cousins, he only had the 1 year left, the 2 years, so it was really a 3-year deal. I have this extra wiggle room. Right? Even a $75 million deal, 3 years, then I get this guy under contract for 5 years. What I've been thinking about if they've had all these weird thoughts about you, Derek, over the years, you become very tradable on a contract in a couple of years where Derek's making 28 and he's still a really good quarterback. I was like, I would just play it out. And you've played it out this far and you've made a ton of money. What's the rush? And he'd go, well, if I'm playing they're trying to be loyal. They're trying to extend me. It's like, yeah, kind of. Are they extending you really to be their quarterback forever, or is just to kind of help them out in the short term and then figure it out next year as they go?
I would need enough money so that I am making more than the franchise tag in 2023.
Well, I would doubt that's part of the extension, right? Because the franchise tag's huge.
It's 30. Was it 31 now? It would be by then
36, 37.
36.
Yeah.
So
it would be easy to justify.
Honestly, it's got to be more guaranteed than my last contract was, probably.
I actually think, if I'm in Carr's, I'm not being a hater here, I think they're going to try to take advantage of him. Because they could throw $60 million. It's easy for him in his mind. Well, they already paid me 125. We're at 200. I've made more money than anyone in my family ever could have dreamed of. And I had an older brother that was the number 1 pick in the draft, and I'm worth hundreds of millions of dollars. They're showing me extension. But I just go, there is something to be said about Dak and Cousins showed what you're truly worth if you play it out. And Derek, you're only in your late 20s. You play it out, you'll be, if you ever do get to the franchise, they won't want to franchise tag you, right? Because they don't want that cap hit. They're not going to want that at all.
And we've seen
who gets franchised as a quarterback.
The more money you make, the more you can do. You can take a little more risk, right? If you've never signed a $125 million contract, it's harder to walk away from $66 million. But he signed it. He's made it. The money's in the bank. So maybe you can take a little bit more of a quote-unquote risk, right, and let it ride. And just kind of change the power dynamic here between you and the organization, which has not been
They've kind of drug him through the mud the last couple of years,
yeah,
right?
I wouldn't even say dragged him through the mud. I would just say they just let it kind of continue where his name is always out there.
Yeah.
So now maybe this year, maybe they're kind of...
But maybe in his mind, the extension in Derek's, even if it is quote unquote cheaper, and he goes, listen, guys, I'm not all about the money. I'm already making more money than I ever
I want to be
could have
here.
dreamed of. I want to be here. And they're showing me that, like, if they sign me to extension, who can say anything? I'm like, well, I don't
Right.
think it's going to go away.
Well, and also they signed me to an extension in the end. It's not what I would get on the free agent market. Maybe that's I just want to win. I'm really rich. I just want them to be able to sign other players.
Yeah. Help out the deal. I'm going to be here next year, so we'll just take it year to year. I live next to Johnny now.
Trying to outlive them here in Vegas.
Yeah. Derek, it really is one thing. We were kind of on this years ago, and it's just so true. It matters for all the other positions because you're like, oh, this guy's probably going to get cut. Quarterbacks, they just, if you're just a top 20 guy, you're making that whole freight.
Yeah.
You really are.
Yeah.
Like, just Google like Ryan Tannehill's career earnings. I mean, you just make so
What are
much
they?
money. I mean, I would guess it's really high. I mean, I was just at Cousins was at like 140.
I mean, Tannehill's got an extension coming at some point, or
Actually,
a free agent
Cousins,
contract that's
what would you guess? I was off because Cousins got franchised those 2 years. Kirk Cousins' career earnings.
80 plus 30 plus 30 at least, right? So what is that? 80 plus 30 is 110 plus 30 is 140. So at minimum, I don't know, 165, 175.
Yeah, he's at 140 right now, and by 2022 he'll be at 196 because he's got that extension cash flowing. So I like to him. I don't know. He did it a little different because he got those 2 franchise tag years, right? So it's just
it's hard to replicate. What he did.
he only deals with guaranteed money now. He doesn't even fuck with anything else.